talk about simulation, we're not necessarily talking about an actual hardware computer somewhere in the distant future or in some alien planet that's simulating this. We don't necessarily mean that, like a digital thing that we're in. All we really mean is that things aren't as they appear, number one,
Mm.
and two, that this reality has a very programmed aspect to it. There's programming behind it, and of course there is, because if you look at just physical reality in itself, what do we have? We have relatively hard physics rules. We have the constants of nature, like the speed of light or the gravitational constant or the electric constant. When you write a program, you start out by declaring your constants. What are the values you're going to use throughout your program? And as long as the program runs, these things are set in stone. Those are constants, okay? And likewise, we have the speed of light, which is supposedly a constant. So it's kind of weird that reality functions in many ways like a computer program. We got that. We've got a very strong persistence to this reality, right? So, for example, you go to sleep, you wake up, and the world as you know it is still there. Like your bed didn't disappear just because you weren't conscious of being in bed. So there's a persistence to this, unlike a dream where things tend to be a little more shifty. Because, well, the reason why that is because I think waking reality is being simulated, but it's being simulated on consciousness itself.
Mm.
So I do think that there's a universal field of consciousness, which is all there is. And within that, you can have a programmed aspect that creates the illusion of a physical reality, even though it's not actually real. And we actually do have an example of that in our own nightly dreams, where, yes, despite dreams having symbolic elements and even like spiritual components to it, when you're in a dream and you're walking, let's say, across a road, what is it that is responsible for the gravity? What keeps you from falling through the road due to the lack of gravity? Well, there's an aspect of your subconscious that is upholding dream physics. You know, it's generating physics in a dream, but it's not perfect because if you put your hand up against a wall in a dream and you kind of like relax and push against it, you can start going through the wall because your subconscious gives way and that programming starts to give way, and the physics starts to dissolve in a dream. But it doesn't in waking reality, as far as we know, to the average person, because there is an even stronger subconscious, which the ancients would call the demiurge,
Mm.
which seems to be upholding this illusion. Okay. Now, if you're extremely psychic, you've got telekinetic abilities, or you're one of those super psychic children of China, which has been written about, if you're one of those, then you can treat waking reality almost like a dream too. You can take, well, let's see, the Chinese Somatic Journal of Science, or what was it called? Anyway, so in the early 80s, there was a lot of science, parapsychology research in China that was done. And because China was so big and they had such a totalitarian surveillance ability of the population, they could pick out people who were psychic, people that were reported to be psychic, and pull them in and test them. And some of these people were able to, for example, take like a sealed glass bottle, take an object like a pill or like a pen or some sort of plastic object, and insert it into the bottle without breaking the glass. In other words, almost like shifting it through the fourth dimension into the inside of the bottle. They could do that. Some of them could take like a tennis ball and turn it inside out without breaking the tennis ball, like inverting it through the fourth dimension. So these people, they had abilities to treat waking reality as if it were a dream, because they were plugged into the simulation, you could say, or the demiurge, and they're able to work at that deep level that is responsible for upholding reality and kind of bypass the rules of this program, right? So what I'm saying is that our dreams and waking reality are very similar. They're both generated by consciousness, just that in our dreams, there's a lot less persistence and constants and hardness to the rules that make up our dream.